My stars, Fairy Tale, this is how you do a recap opening. Take some notes, because this is exactly what I look for when I hear recap. Just show some new content and tie it in with the old. That's all I was getting at. Plus, this feels like it could be its own Fairy Tale fight. Like, imagine this. That'd be pretty awesome. Anyway, this is episode 9 for Fire Force. Let's get started. Yeah, so this episode starts out with exactly what I would want out of any recap for any series, which is they give you new content, which in this instance actually ties us in very well with the relationship between Rekka and Tamaki and sort of how the dynamic of Fire Force's one's elite kind of work and how Tamaki really looked up to Rekka. And so we get a lot of that, and we then get what was happening last episode, which now carries even more emotional weight because we already knew that Tamaki had respect and admired Rekka, but now we see even more of it with them kind of fighting off an Infernal and how they worked as a team, all of them, including Tamaki and Rekka and all the other elite. And so now this crying scene, which they show again, has even more weight to it, which I actually really like. And I mean, I guess if you spend that much time animating such a well-done crying face, you're going to get the most out of it, so makes sense. So considering what happened at the end of last episode, I was thinking that Rekka was done. I thought that was it. Shinra had taken him out, but thinking to it now, obviously Shinra is strong, but there are many people in Fire Company 1 who are significantly stronger, Rekka himself included, along with the Fire Company's captain. And so the fight continues, and it is awesome. And the animation in this fight is freaking awesome. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, like this is the kind of fight that I would love to see in Fairy Tale, especially with the fire going around and everything. I could just imagine Natsu like fighting with this sort of setup, but that's just because I'm a big Fairy Tale fan. In this instance, though, everything worked so well. We see how powerful Rekka is, we see how powerful Shinra is, and we get a little bit more sort of rule creation or like a bit more world building in a way, but it's how, number one, how the fire abilities work for these third generation pyrokinetics, and also something that we learned about these little fire pyro bug things. And also we get Shinra doing his whole giving himself a superhero name that specifically has to do with the situation he's in at the moment. Like, I love that little quirk of his. And surprisingly enough, he actually holds his own fairly well against Rekka. Like, he does a really good job. But when Shinra starts lighting up and just fire everywhere, the little bug thing, that bug thing starts kind of trying to crawl towards Shinra. And we learn, which is really bizarre, but we learn that these things are trying to crawl back to the fire that created them, which is an Adola burst. It's a pure flame. I don't exactly know what the difference between like the regular fire and Shinra's fire is, other than it seems like people who can do the kind of things that Shinra does are descendants of the Great Soul or something, and I don't exactly know what that will play into or anything like that, but now we know, of course, that there is something else special about Shinra, and we actually, no, the Adola bursts were mentioned before. Back when we were first introduced to Princess Hibana, we did see that the weird science-y dude was talking about the Adola bursts coming out of Shinra, and so I guess that, yeah, so we've had a hint at that before. But anyway, the bug's trying to crawl towards him, and we also learn that apparently the Evangelist, and by extension Rekka, are collecting children who are, I guess, descendants of the Great Soul, which is how they're compatible with the Pilot Light. Essentially, like, I guess if they're descendants, they don't go infernal. And now Shinra knows that the Evangelist very well may have his brother. So that could mean some pretty big things. So then after this moment where we get a bit of the explanation with the bug and everything, we have, of course, a bit of fan service with Rekka punching Shinra, him flying back, and Tamaki's Lucky Let Your Lure, which is basically just an extra long way of saying character-based fan service, kicks in, so that. And then the fire thrown out by Rekka, more fan service, it's okay. There's a review coming out that I talk about where I kind of have two types of fan service that I'm not a big fan of. Obviously, this is one of them. And pandering to fans is also one of the fan services I don't like, but this is, yeah, just straight up fan service and serves no plot whatsoever. There are fan servicey moments that actually serve a purpose in the plot, like in Fairy Tail, but I'm lingering on this way too long. So after all of that, we do have a moment with Tamaki kind of pushing Shinra towards Rekka, like, please defeat him. We can see that she's very obviously distressed by the fact that somebody she's looked up to for so long is evil. I mean, doing like the unspeakable. Burning children is kind of an unspeakable thing, so makes sense that she's kind of shocked and taken aback by that. We then see an example of how powerful Rekka can actually be when he lights up his arms and it burns off his sleeves, and the power is, it's hot enough apparently that it burns Shinra's knee when he goes to attack him. And that's, I mean, to burn a pyrokinetic apparently is fairly hard. I'm thinking that's kind of the point of them being a pyrokinetic, is that it's hard for them to get burned, and he got burned, which is pretty wild how hot Rekka is at that point. Not that way, but like actually fire hot. You know what I meant. But as this fight continues on, we see that Shinra, while he realizes that he's probably on par or a little below what Rekka can do in terms of power, he has mobility on his side, and he uses that to his advantage. He goes, bounces all over the place, and eventually lands a solid hit on Rekka that seemingly takes him down. And then Tamaki has to go and help the children, who, one of which is now apparently, I don't know if they became a pyrokinetic or if they just have a firebug in them now and are compatible with a pilot light, and that's it. I don't know. Anyway, that little kid there, plus all the other children, minus the mother who got set on fire, all of them, Tamaki has to go help. And we learn a bit more about how the whole fire ability for the third-gen pyrokinetics actually works. So apparently when these pyrokinetics light up and burn, they are using the oxygen in their body to create these flames, but if they use too much of it, I mean, considering the fact that Shinra, in his case, flew all the way over to where they were at and then did all of that fighting, he burned a lot of oxygen in his body, which causes him to get dizzy and very lightheaded, because a lot of the oxygen that you kind of need in your bloodstream to function as a human being is, you know, being burned. Of course, while he's lightheaded, Rekka stands back up, and we learn a bit more while he's standing up and giving his long dialogue bit that he has this plan, this big plan that the evangelist wants. And I did get ahead of myself, because this is also where we learn that potentially Shinra's brother is still alive, because at this point is when Rekka reveals that they were taking children who were compatible. So that's probably, you know, important, that order. I kind of mixed that up because I got ahead of myself, which I always do. But anyway, the goal, at least it seems like what Rekka was told the goal was to turn the Earth into a star, or into another sun. And yeah, I don't know how that's exactly going to work other than by setting fire to all the people, but like scientifically that doesn't really make sense. But I don't really think this show's based on science, so there's that. But then as Rekka is burning almost to the point where like Shinra's concerned that he's going to like catch himself on fire and like be consumed by his own flames, we get the, what was it, the bell ring or whatever the sound was for Flum's ability, and his arms turn to ice. Rekka's arms turn to ice. And now both of the elite for Fire Force 1 are here, both of the elite who aren't psychotic, and so they've now fully contained Rekka in ice, because the more he tries to burn, the more he tries to start a fire, the more he turns everything around him, or at least everything near him, into ice, and he encases himself in a shell of ice in a very compromising place, which we see later. Well, not really later, it actually happens pretty quickly, because as soon as Flom says that he's detained or locked down Rekka, Rekka gets shot straight through the chest by a sniper. yeah, he's dead now. And I guess we see more of, I guess, two of the people who are working for the Evangelist, and what their work entails, which is trying to kill people who know. And dude loses his arm. Rekka's dead. I don't remember the dude's name. Sorry. And Shinra creates a smokescreen, and it's actually really clever because Flom comes up with an idea, a plan on how to get people out or get them out safely. So Shinra's smokescreen causes the sniper not to be able to see anybody. And then we have them, well, once Shinra tells them where the location of the sniper is, Tamaki makes her fire tail two of them as far out as possible, and then he freezes them so that they know, or, well, the snipers are aware that they know of their position, and so they have to leave. By the end of the episode, it does kind of suck that we now have some answers, but more questions than answers, which, thank you for everybody letting me know that this is a 24-episode series. Now that I know that, I'm not as worried about them kind of leaving all these questions by episode 9. So it's kind of not as bad that they're leaving all these questions, but it is kind of like, I want to know more, and 9 episodes in, I want to know so much about this series. We now, though, also have at least the people who it seems we can trust from Fire Force or Fire Company 1 offering to join up and help track down or find whoever's creating these infernals. And it's cool because it seems like the overall sort of story as we go is everybody, or not everybody, but Fire Company 5, all these different fire companies learning about Company 8's objective and then joining them to help, which I think is actually pretty neat. Now, with the end of this episode, though, we do have an end button, which I love shows where you can't take an end button for granted. They don't always have a lead up or a payoff at the end. It's sometimes just credits and then it's over. But in this instance, we do get one. And Tamaki, because of the fact that she was luring children to a warehouse on behalf of a psychopath, is at the moment banned, or not banned, but not able to participate in Company 1 activities while Company 1 goes through their records and history and tries to figure out what's going on and how this happened on this level with their fire company, with Rekka and all that. So she's now with Company 8, and yeah, it's kind of funny to see her interaction with Shinra at the fire company. So while she's there, Shinra asks for her phone number for work purposes, and then immediately after, which she was all right, she's like, well, I guess it's not the worst idea, and like, she seems to kind of have a thing for Shinra, I guess, but yeah, once she's like, sure, Shinra just straight up was like, yay, Juggernaut was gonna, would be able to use that, and it's like, bro, you don't say that. You're an idiot. I'm sorry. Also, Arthur's lost. Apparently, like, he got lost while they were wandering around trying to find out where the kids were. Whatever. I don't know how the hell he got lost. But apparently, he made his way to a desert or something, or that's just his imagination. And one last lucky Lechulure for a good send off for the end of the episode. Cool. This episode actually was really cool, though, because I do like the fact that we're still getting new rules and new, like, information about how pyrokinetics work, how the world is in this instance. We're slowly getting revealed, little by little, bits of the plan for what the Evangelist is trying to do. We know now that the Evangelist isn't working alone, because we see very clearly that there are 2 other people working with him alongside, formerly, Rekka. And so it's actually pretty wild. Plus, it's also cool the fact that they, like, just don't have a problem straight up murdering a dude for knowing too much and trying to murder others for knowing too much. So, like, we know now more than ever with this series the stakes, like, what's at stake with this series. So I'm really enjoying this. I hope you guys are too. I'm digging the crap out of this series, and the animation is awesome. The story is going so well so far. The fan servicey moments are, they're here, but they're not like, they don't completely pull me out of it like some of the other series do with their fan service. And I'm just loving every minute of it. Like, this, for me, could be the next Soul Eater. Like, Soul Eater was what originally got me into anime, like, actually knowing that it's anime. Like, I watched anime before as, like, a cartoon, but, like, watching an anime as an anime, this could be the next show for me that I really like. Like, Fairy Tail's that way, Soul Eater was that way, Fullmetal Alchemist was that way. This could very easily get up there with some of my favorites. So I'm loving every minute of it, and I hope it pays off better than Soul Eater did. Just saying, anybody who watches Soul Eater anime, you know what I'm talking about, because friendship defeats all things with a punch in the face. Anyway, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this episode as much as I did. If you did, leave a comment down below letting me know what your favorite parts were, if there was anything I missed that you guys liked that I maybe just didn't talk about. And apart from that, yeah, make sure to like and subscribe, and that's about it. Oh, one last thing too, and I'll leave a link in the description down there as well. There is a series that I'm a part of. I'm a voice actor for the Only Smiles YouTube channel. I do Okabe for their abridged series of Steins Gate. I did it for Exceed Squad, which Exceed Squad is kind of no longer a thing and it's been moved to Only Smiles. Check out the link in the description if you guys haven't watched the Steins Gate abridged episode 5. You guys should check out all the episodes. I will leave a link to the playlist if I can find it, and just check it out. And otherwise, I'll leave a link all the way, or I'll leave a clip of it at the end of the episode here. But go check it out. And apart from that, have a good one and enjoy the clip.
Muscle it out! Only a few more feet and stairs to go!
You know how some people say that they can't feel their arms? Well, right now, all I can feel is my arms!
Hey, Mad Mickey, you brought a friend, you brought a toy, brought a bundle of joy.
A bundle of joy indeed, for this, Miss Adderall, is the secret to going to infinity and beyond.
Yes, I was right! I was right? About it being an IBN 5100? I realized I never actually said it. I thought it was an IBN, but I thought it was an IBN. But it's really heavy and a secret, and you were gonna go extra, so like, it's definitely an IBN.
You are in fact right. It is very heavy, so please shut up so we can take this up before I, the IBN, or Okabe's toes break.
It's her. 15 ways to kill a man, start!
Okay, your friend is going to murder me.
Apologize!
Apologize?
Quickly, Christina!
I'm sorry for cutting you off and telling you to shut up, stranger. However, I feel as though this might be a tad bit of an
Not the time for being pedantic, assistant!
I most humbly apologize for being rude.
Well, isn't this nice and tense? I think you two will make great friends.
Don't think I won't not kill you for what you ever haven't done, Maki-say.
Go.